If you would like to get your song reviewed, dear listener, there's the filthy capitalist option. As Sorry says, 125 gets you straight to the head of the line. You don't have to be a part of the alliance. You don't have to be part of the group.
Wait a minute.
And the biggest thing is you don't have to wait. You hop, skip, and jump right in front of everybody. 125 gets you there. You do that 3 times, and you get mashed down to the $75 rate for perpetuity.
Yes!
Also, there is a band review option. So if you've got a band and you're trying to get your band some exposure, hit me up at itsorry@gmail.com, and I'll show you the details about how to pull that off.
You can also jump on Patreon, and there is a option on the tiers to be able to get your band reviewed. Yep. Obviously, we can't lie to you, so we can't guarantee a positive review. Get what you get.
It's just rubbish.
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 That's British for garbage.
My favorite is the community option. $1 at the gate gets you in at Patreon. You get to join an alliance. The alliance joins their points together, and that helps determine what songs that we do.
The alliances hang out on Discord.
Message me on Patreon to get the link.
And they do all kinds of other cool things. They do Minecraft. Dungeons and Dragons.
Yeah. It's really a community within the community. Anybody can go in the village, facebook.com/Sorry. There's 160,000+ people on the channel. What's cool about the Discord is that it offers a real opportunity for community connection, friendship, that type of thing.
And it's on Discord, so if you're not a Facebook person, it's for you.
You start off at $1.
Right.
Plus you get exclusives. Sorry and I are working on a song. So the first 15 seconds of that was on Patreon. Also, at $15 tier and above, when we actually debut the video, they're going to be there live with us. There you are, dear listener.
Buy our merch.
Buy merch indeed. Channel shall lead them.
To buy our merch.
Hello, dear listener.
Okay, I'm sorry. We've got some exciting happenings going on right now. So, one of our villagers, who's been with us a long time, goes by the name of Codeslammer. And Codeslammer decided to buy a stream and donate it to the village. So, as you guys know, there was a video circulating about free reviews, and you were supposed to go in there and put your pick and put a thumb up on the one that you want, and the ones with the most thumbs up are the songs that we're going to be reacting to. So, we're doing the top 10, and it's going to go down until we get the number 1 song that was requested. So, the first song that we're going to be reacting to is... Dun, 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 dun. We're doing the Beatles I Am the Walrus. That was song number 1. The big homie Dwayne Chamberlain, you, sir, are the one that gets this song. And you got enough thumbs up for it. So I don't know if you had the villagers' help or your friends, but either way, you got it accomplished.
I Am the Walrus.
Yep.
This is a labor of love. It's I am almost guaranteed this is going to get blocked, but that's okay, because that's okay. Alright.
We'll see.
So I Am the Walrus by the Beatles. If it gets blocked, it's gonna like stop for a second and like shut down the channel. And then 2 or 3 minutes later, we'll be okay. Inshallah. So there you are. Okay. I Am the Walrus. Is that a lyric video?
I just went with whatever I could find that wasn't official. If there was a lyric video, I took it. I don't remember.
What's up, Colombia? I Am the Walrus, Beatles. Let's go.
Dwayne, yep, you got it.
T-shirt, stupid bloody Tuesday, man. You've been a naughty boy, you let your face grow long. I am the Eggman, they are the Eggmen. I am the Walrus. The city policeman sitting pretty little
say cuckoo cuckoo?
Sitting in an English garden waiting for the sun. If the sun don't come, you get a tan from standing in the English rain. I am the Eggman. They are the Eggmen. I am the Walrus. Expert, choking smokers. Don't you think the Joker laughs at you? See how they smile like pigs in a sty. See how this night I'm crying. Semolina pilchard, climbing up the Eiffel Tower.
What is happening?
Elementary penguins singing Hare Krishna. You should have seen them kicking at your Allen Poe.
They're singing Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna.
They are the Eggmen. I am the Walrus.
What in the...
Farewell, I will try and bury my body. And give the letters which thou find'st about me to Edmund Earl of Gloucester, seek him out upon the British pardon. Or untimely death.
What the hell? Oh man. Okay. I'm just really not sure what to think about this because I've heard like so much about the Beatles and like you know like when somebody like makes a joke and then nobody thinks it's funny and then they're like, "Well, you would have had to have been there." I'm like wondering if like the Beatles phenomenon was like you would have had to have been there. I don't know, like oh boy.
Well, what year was this?
I don't know.
What year was this song written?
Turning on.
This is 60s, 70s? 1967. 1967.
Okay.
Okay, so let me see. Let's get the lyrics here. and was it cuckoo cuckoo?
Yeah.
Did he literally say cuckoo cuckoo?
It was something like that. Like they wrote it out in the lyrics. Look. Right here.
Cuckoo cuckoo.
Everyone's got an oompa. Everyone's got to stick it up your jumper.
Oompa? Like the Oompa Loompa?
I don't know. That's what I was like wondering. There was so many things I didn't understand. Okay. I am he as you are me. And we are all together. See how they run like pigs from a gun. See how they fly. I am crying. Sitting on a cornflake. Waiting for the van to come. Cooperation t-shirt. Stupid bloody Tuesday.
Did he say cooperation t-shirt?
I'm sorry, corporation. Corporation t-shirt. Stupid bloody Tuesday. Man, you've been a naughty boy and let your face grow long. I'm the Eggman.
They're the Eggman. I am the Walrus. Cuckoo cuckoo.
Goo goo gajoob is what's written here. Goo goo gajoob.
I just feel like this is one of those situations where
they were on something.
You know, like you're experimenting with drugs.
Exactly. It's got to be.
And it's like, we are the Beatles, so we can do that.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure.
Like Ranter Matt said that.
He said, let's see if Vin can interpret these lyrics by John Lennon. That's what that's what Dwayne said.
John Lennon. This guy, I am certain that he's a very talented musician. Well, I'll say that I actually liked the music. I really liked the music because it was very, very chill. You didn't like the music?
The whole
bass
thing
line was really hard.
It was just so weird to me.
The video is also very strange. I'm very surprised that we're still on.
Well, I told you I got it from somebody else's YouTube channel, so I want to see what the other people said underneath it. But I don't know how far down his comment was.
Okay,
anyway,
so
I mean, I just think I'm not a fan. I am not a fan.
Yeah, but okay, so
go ahead.
According to Jambi, he says the genius of this song is that the fact that everyone, including universities, constantly overanalyzed Lennon's lyrics, so he wrote this to fuck with those people. Like, so it's I guess
meant
it's
to be nothing.
To be a nonsense thing.
Okay.
But so I guess we're not going to pay too much attention to trying to overanalyze the lyrics, but Sonic, you didn't like how it sounded though?
No, I didn't.
I felt like right there in 1967 though. You didn't get like a chill or were you just so frustrated with how crazy the lyrics were that you were thrown off by it?
No, I didn't care. The lyrics were weird, but I didn't care about that. It was more just like, so like. First of all, are you done with this? Because I feel like I'm going to end up knocking it over. So, there's like this kind of like running weird thing that we do in my family where it's like if you find like a really particularly strange and annoying song, like you play it for each other. And especially if you do like some really dumb little dance with it. And so this is one of those songs that I would pick. Like I couldn't get past the fact that this would be the sound of one of the songs they would send and do some like weird, like really like dumb. Like the kind of stuff that just makes you feel embarrassed. I don't know. I don't know how to explain it. I don't like this song at all. This is like laughable even. And I don't understand, Dwayne, how you got so many people to thumbs up it.
Well, maybe because the channel features the analysis of lyrics. So
they wanted to know if they could get you.
The song is
yeah.
But here's the thing, like
perhaps
you know what I'm saying, like even if you're trying to be nonsensical, there's a theory that it's impossible to do so.
Yeah. Okay. Well, let's see.
What I'm saying?
Let's see.
Because
let's see, babe. Bring out some.
Cuckoo Kachoo.
Bring out something amazing from this.
Well, no, I mean, I'm the last person on the planet that wants to defend the Beatles or what's the guy's name? John
Lennon.
I'm just saying.
Not after he humiliated you by dying.
Yeah. It was funny because I think it was Sarcast. He can't embarrass Vin. He doesn't care.
It really is true. He doesn't care.
So I've got an interview with John McCarthy at John McCarthy. I
was like, what? Where did that John Lennon?
John Lennon. At some point, so we'll see. But I am he, as you are me, and we're all together. See how they run like pigs from a gun. See how they fly. I'm crying. Sitting on a cornflake.
When pigs fly, I feel like sitting on a cornflake is just they did probably
waiting
the bus
for the band to come. Corporation T-shirt. Stupid Bloody Tuesday. Man, you've been a naughty boy. You let your face go long. I am the Eggman. They are the Eggman. I am the Walrus. Goo goo gajoo.
I just why?
Mr. City Policeman sitting pretty little policemen in a row. See how they fly like Lucy in the sky. Now, I did see there's this thing called Lucy in the Sky with Diamonds. Okay. And that was code for LSD.
And it said that in the song?
No, I saw some documentary in the 80s actually. Like when I first came to this country about
really?
the Beatles, and it's something about Lucy in the Sky with Diamonds, and that was code for LSD.
Oh, okay. And what did you see in there? Why did you just say that?
See how they fly.
Yeah, but she was just talking about
high, like Lucy in the Sky.
Oh. Yeah, but...
Which is the LS
she's saying it's
LSD.
like that, but see how they fly. You know, like it says when pigs fly?
Yeah, pretty little policemen in a row.
Yeah.
See how they run, I'm crying, I'm crying. Maybe people cry when they're on LSD.
Jeez, I don't know.
Yellow matter custard dripping from a dead dog's eye. Ooh.
Gross.
Kara Blocker, fishwife, pornographic priestess. Boy, you've been a naughty girl. You let your knickers down. Knickers, I'm assuming. Knickers
They're
are
your pants, I think.
They're undergarments.
Oh, they're the undergarments. Okay.
I'm the Eggman, sitting in the English garden, waiting for the sun. If the sun don't come, you get a tan from standing in the English rain. That's actually pretty smart.
Why?
Huh?
Why?
If the sun doesn't come, you get a tan from standing in the English rain. It's just, oppositional.
Okay.
I'm the Eggman. Now, good sir, they are the Eggman, a poor man, made tame to fortune's blows. I am the walnut. Goo-goo-ga-choo. Expert, texpert, choking smokers. See, this might have been a prophecy. Texpert. Like texting?
He's brilliant!
You see what I'm saying? Like, he might have been able to see the future in one of his LSD trips. I was watching this thing on Joe Rogan where...
Choking smokers.
One of these mushroom people.
Yeah.
I think it was Terrence McKenna's brother, actually. Basically said he saw the future.
And? What was there?
On one of his mushroom trips. It was like a landslide or a rock slide or something like that.
Okay.
And then he saw it on one of his mushroom trips, and then a week later there was a landslide in that place. And Rogan was like, "Whoa!" shout out to Joe Rogan.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah.
Who's that person? Simelina Pilchard?
I have no idea.
Climbing up the Eiffel Tower?
Eiffel Tower. Elementary penguin singing Hare Krishna. Elementary penguin.
Look at this. The lyrics where I just typed up that name. It's a song by Stamasis Stabs. It's look, I am he as you we are all together. It kind of has like this.
They probably wrote that song because of the Beatles. You see what I'm saying?
Sitting on a cornflake, waiting for the van to come. It's the exact same lyrics.
Yeah, it's probably just a cover from some other band.
So he gave him a shout out?
I don't know. I mean, he's making shit up as he goes along, so I don't really think that you can. Man, you should have seen them kicking Edgar Allan Poe.
I mean,
he's a famous poet.
Yeah.
Actually, I had a girlfriend that lived in the Bronx, and there was this place called Poe Park because he lived over there, and there's a park that he used to sit and write a bunch of shit, and like you go outside of the.
That's pretty cool.
It's on Fordham Road on Valentine Avenue. You go outside the building and you turn left. There's Poe Park.
Really?
And I'm like, the Edgar Allan Poe. She didn't know who he was. I'm like, the guy's like the darkest lyricist of all time. She didn't care. And she's like, what? Whatever. Was he heavy? She's a Slipknot fan.
Oh man. Yeah, I just. This, if I was in this review by myself, this would be like the worst review ever. I would have said this song is a 3.5, and I would end the review.
If you intentionally see, I don't know. This to me, let's see. Oompa Oompa, stick it up your jumper, Juba.
Goo goo gooba.
Everybody's got one. Stick it in your jumper, Oompa Oompa. Thou hast slain me, villain. Take my purse. If I ever bury my body, the letters which thou findest about me to Edmund Earl of Gloucester. Seek him out upon the British party, O untimely death. I know thee well, a serviceable villain, as duteous to the vices of thy mistress, as badness would desire. What? Is he dead? Set you down, father. Rest you. Okay, so apparently the lyrics are supposed to be nonsensical.
Well,
and they were pretty nonsensical.
That they
like
were.
You honestly didn't like the music at all?
No, I didn't.
Not even a little bit?
No.
Huh.
No.
I don't know, man.
And that does not make me want to go back and experience the 70s or whatever, wherever he was. Nope.
No, it seemed fairly drug induced to me. As Negative Vibe says, LSD was involved in a lot of the songwriting process.
I'm sure. Wow. I'm sure. But okay.
But I'm still trying to figure out the legendary status of the Beatles. Remember that time I did the guesting on that rap song?
I don't get it.
Remember the time I went to the guest at that rap song?
Yeah. Yep.
The guy in the studio was like a Beatles acolyte. He was like, they're the greatest ever. They're the reason you have rap, blah, blah, blah. And I was like, man, what the hell are you talking about, bruh? But he was like, I don't know. I don't get it. And Imagine is not the Beatles. Imagine is John Lennon. It's his own side.
Yeah.
And
I liked that one.
Yeah, you liked that.
I did. But this...
simplistic nursery rhyme. This song, I liked.
Well, you are rude.
What do you mean? How am I rude?
That simplistic nursery
rhyme. It was
rhyme.
a simplistic song.
It was supposed to be. Imagine a world like this. Imagine. Anyway, I'm sorry, but it is my opinion that I don't like this song, and it's getting a 3.5 for me.
Lena asked a very interesting question. Do you think Revelation was drug-induced? Favorite book in the Bible, for sure.
Yo, Vinny's been listening to, Wars of the Jews nonstop. So I'm only catching bits and pieces of it, and then the stuff that he tells me, because to sit there and listen to something for that amount of hours is, I don't know, ADD kicks in, or maybe it's immaturity, I'm not sure. But he's been listening to this stuff nonstop, and the stuff lines up like crazy. Like Revelation, I can totally see why people would look at it and say, perhaps it was drug-induced, because the stuff sounds so insane. But when you look at the historical account, and you put it side by side with what's being spoken about, it's crazy, the accuracy. And then, honestly, it makes a lot of the stuff that they say about Revelation, you're like, people just made up, they had no clue what they were saying. And honestly, Revelation, it's the people that interpreted Revelation that were probably on LSD.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because this interpretation is so wow. I mean, okay.
Yeah, but this Beatles song, I'm actually a little bit disappointed that this was the specific, because I've been really, really curious about this band because of all the hype about it.
I know.
You see that, hopefully, inshallah, this will instigate some sort of Beatles little mini alliance.
We did Strawberry Fields and Helter Skelter by them.
Yeah,
but
Helter Skelter, people were saying, was that's the real first metal song.
Both of those songs were done 3 years ago. No, 4 years, 2018. Yeah. So it's been a while. I definitely think, look, if you're a Beatles person and you're thinking about getting a song review, send us the best you have.
Yeah, because I'm like, well, you could tell with John, he had a nice, smooth voice, though.
I'm sorry, honey. I can't get past how I felt about the song. It annoyed me.
Was it the video? What did you give it?
No, I wasn't really watching the video all that much. I gave it a 3.5.
A 3?
No, a 3.5.
Even the instrumentation was trash. That means the instrumentation was trash as well.
I couldn't hear the instrumentation because I just couldn't get past Okay? I didn't like it. I really didn't like it. And then I'm sitting here confused at how the girls would scream at these people. What was it? It's just the fame?
Well, I feel like by this time they had already gotten to a certain degree of fame. You don't start playing around like this until you get really, really famous. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, well.
You don't just start writing nonsense lyrics or whatever.
Look, Overshadow gives it a 10.5. Yeah, no, we understand it wasn't the real video. I know that. We couldn't put the real video out or we'd get blocked. So,
yeah, I'm surprised. This is going to get blocked.
Codeslammer gives it an 11.
She did George Harrison yesterday or whatever. Was it George Harrison?
Is that what got it?
Yeah. So the entire 5-hour stream got blocked because of George Harrison yesterday. So I'm certain that people are like, okay.
No, Mark, I wasn't just laughing at the video. I was laughing at the lyrics and how like pointless the entire thing is. And I was laughing at the fact that how did these people get popular? And I was laughing at the fact that Dwayne was able to get that many people to thumbs up it. The whole thing was
I think it was kind of like a troll to us. Because,
yeah, I think so.
You know, that's our thing is we analyze the lyrics, and you know. So I have to be honest and say, okay, if it wasn't the Beatles and it wasn't John Lennon, what would you give it? And to me, there's a couple things. One is the instrumentation was really chill. They featured the bass line, which, you know, I generally never hear the bass because I have an untrained ear. And two, his voice was kind of chill.
Yeah, it was.
That's kind of funny.
Mad people giving it an 11.
There's no way it's something ridiculous. Ridiculous. So this is an 8.5.
Oh my goodness.
This is an 8.5.
Amy, rate this song post haste. I need to hear from you.
Yeah, I want to see what does Amy say.
Why? I just put this on silent. Why is it still making noises?
Yeah, I want to hear what Amy says.
Because I didn't put it on silent. Okay.
Yeah, like so it's a troll song, so I don't take it like too seriously as far
Amy
as
gives it a 7.
Okay.
Matthew Clark gives it an 11. Oh man, Slipknot Sean gives it a 5.
See, the thing is like, I kind of said this about Jack Black or Weird Al Yankovic, where you know, like the really smart kid in class who's like really capable, but he jokes around, he acts like the class clown or whatever, and then he goes and gets an A+ on the test without even trying.
Yeah.
So like, the way that the music was really good. So it's like, wow, like you saw music like that and decided we're just gonna throw this one away. Like, to me, that says that he's got some talent. So I'm still suspending judgment on this band, whether or not I say they're an overrated band or whatever. I think for the way that people talk about the Beatles, like, I'm probably going to end up saying that they're massively overrated. But we haven't really looked at their catalog yet, so I'm not sure. You see what I'm saying? I Am the Walrus is far out. Isn't that something they'd say? Hey, man,
yeah, it's far out. Yeah.
It was happening at the time. Love the lyrics. If you want a modern version of it, listen to Oasis cover of I Am the Walrus. It rocks.
So weird. It was happening at the time. Man, our parents were weird.
I'd recommend giving it a second listen later on. Yeah, I'm definitely going to listen to it later on for sure.
Okay, this is what I'll tell you guys.
For sure. I'm definitely going to listen to it another time because like I said, it was vibey.
I'll give it a second listen. I'll put it up on the channel. And I'll listen to the music. No, Franco, you didn't miss Pearl Jam. But you don't know if it's your Pearl Jam.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah. All right. It's an 8.5.
Vin overscored.
I didn't overscore because I really like the jam. The musicianship. And I like his voice. His voice was chill. You know, but, you know, people hyped up this band, man, so, I don't know. But 8.5 for me. What'd you give it?
3.5.
Wasn't a that's ridiculous.
Loud and proud 3.5.
There you are, dear listener. That's song 1. Beatles I Am the Walrus. Vin out.
Sorry out.
Gone. I think you swung too much in the other direction. These people were giving it a 10 or whatever are crazy, but I feel like 3 is ridiculous.
No, that's how I feel.
I feel like you got bogged down by the video.
I wasn't looking at the video. I honestly can't even tell you much of what I saw in the video. So what was the
problem? Cuckoo Gachoo?
Yeah, the way that the lyrics were, they were just kind of all over the place. The singing, none of it. The whole thing was just ridiculous. And the way that the thing was just kind of like a floaty. I don't know.
You mean like the video?
No, I didn't see the video. I didn't see the video. Unbelievable. Okay, you guys, Pearl Jam is next after this commercial.
I'm Ben.
I'm sorry.
If you would like to get your song reviewed, dear listener, there's the Filthy Capitalist option. As Sorry says, $125 gets you straight to the head of the line. You don't have to be a part of the alliance. You don't have to be part of the group.
Wait a minute.
And the biggest thing is you don't have to wait. You hop, skip, and jump right in front of everybody. $125 gets you there. You do that 3 times, and then get mashed down to the $75 rate for perpetuity.
Yes!
Also, there is a band review option. So if you've got a band and you're trying to get your band some exposure, hit me up at instory@gmail.com, and I'll show you the details about how to pull that off.
You can also jump on Patreon, and there is a option on the tiers to be able to get your band reviewed. Obviously, we can't lie to you, so we can't guarantee a positive review. Get what you get.
It's just rubbish.
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 That's British for garbage.
My favorite is the community option. $1 at the gate gets you in at Patreon. You get to join an alliance. The alliance joins their points together, and that helps determine what songs that we do.
The alliances hang out on Discord.
Message me on Patreon to get the link.
And they do all kinds of other cool things. They do Minecraft, Dungeons and Dragons.
Yeah. It's really a community within the community. Anybody can go in the village, facebook.com/VinandSory. There's 160,000+ people on the channel. What's cool about the Discord is that it offers a real opportunity for community connection, friendship, that type of thing.
And it's on Discord, so if you're not a Facebook person, it's for you.
You start off at $1.
Right.
Plus you get exclusives. Sory and I are working on a song. So the first 15 seconds of that was on Patreon. Also, at $15 tier and above, when we actually debut the video, they're going to be there live with us. There you are, dear listener.
Buy our merch.
Buy our merch indeed.
And a child shall lead them.
Child shall lead them.
Yep, to buy our merch.
Okay, so we are...
Did you put something... Oh, yeah, I already put it up there.
In the Codeslammer stream, Codeslammer got 10 songs for the village.
Ridiculous. This is the first time anyone has ever done this. He had 10 songs that he was going to pick, and then he just decided to, like, he literally had started his list of what songs he wanted to do, and then he was like, you know what, forget it, I'm going to give all the songs to the village.
Unbelievable.
So, yeah, absolutely ridiculous. I don't even understand people like you, Codeslammer. That's a lot. That's a lot to give to everybody. But the comment section was hopping. People put in their requests, and the ones with the most thumbs up were the ones that were chosen. So the next song on our amazing top 10 list.
The first song we did was from a band called the Beatles, and it's a song called "I Am the Walrus" or "A Walrus."
Oh yes. It's called I Am the Walrus. Anyway, but we're off that now and we're on to something new, something different. Pearl Jam, Life Wasted for the big homie. Abraham Esparza was the one that got that one on the list and somehow got all the thumbs up to it. So here we are.
It was supposed to be a Christmas gift to the village, but it was too late. So Merry Christmas, everyone.
Merry Christmas, everybody.
All right, here we go. Where'd you put it? Oh, there it is. Life Wasted by Pearl Jam. Let's do it. This is the lyric video.
Seen the hole inside your
Wow.
They're going off here. This is just rock music. This is just rock music. Finally, something lyrically legible. I'm actually glad you gave those poor kids a 3.5 because then they'll have to try to figure out what to do with that. Because everybody on the channel loves you so much, but then they love their Beatles.
Yep, they're gonna hate me. That's gonna be a hop in comment section when I break that one up by itself.
Look at this! Look at this! Look at this! Look at this nonsense. Maybe it's just me, but I feel like Pearl Jam is like 100 times more vanilla than the Beatles. All their songs sound kind of the same. Yeah, this sounded exactly like Jeremy or Black.
Wrong. Okay, this song.
But they're never gonna forgive you. They're never gonna forgive you for that.
I don't need their forgiveness. Okay. I've seen that before, where when I didn't agree with somebody, they suddenly said I was wrong or that I wasn't thinking for myself.
Fuck you, people.
Oh, I thought you were doing a high five. Yeah, go ahead.
Fuck you, people. And everybody with you.
Okay, this song, I actually really, really like the lyrics. They're very, very, very good. Especially, okay, well, I actually didn't get the lyrics up until the second half. So perhaps the first half is no good, but...
Okay, go ahead.
So in the second half, because that's where I started coming in. Actually, you know what? You want to just start at the beginning and...
No, go to what stuck out to you.
Okay, so when it said, darkness comes in waves, tell me, why invite it to stay? And then you're one with negativity. Yes, comfort is an energy, but why let the sad song play? So to me, it was like... You know, especially if you're somebody that suffers or struggles with depression, and I'm speaking from my experience. So if you have some clinical depression that's different than mine or whatever, like I can't speak to that. I was thinking the other day, I was like, well, I hope I said something when I was talking about postpartum and stuff, and I'm like, well, wait a minute, I hope I said enough for people to like. That's my opinion. This is my opinion, folks. So. The heaviness or the darkness, it can come in waves. Like all of a sudden you be totally fine, and the next minute you feel like down, like really, really, really down. And it said, why invite it to stay? Because there's a decision. So like the last couple of weeks, months actually, when I feel that depression coming, I'm conscious of it, and I don't like slip into it. I say, okay, I'm feeling this way. I'm acknowledging that I feel this way. And it's not like a step process that I do. It's just something that I'm trying to like kind of work through it. And then I think about, you know, maybe perhaps what's bothering me or what's kind of come up. And then I say, but I don't want to live in that bad feeling. So whatever event was making me feel that way, or memory, whatever that's making me feel that way, I can face that memory or that thought and then say, but I'm not going to live in that bad feeling because I want to actually have a good day. And then when it says you're one with negativity, yes, comfort is an energy. So a lot of times, you can find yourself comforted by very, very negative things. And I have no idea why that happens. I'm sure there's something scientifically or whatever. But like, you know, he said about the sad song, like, but why let the sad song play? And I took that very literally. There's times where if you're already feeling down and negative and dark, and then you put on certain music, or maybe you play certain video games, or you go to certain places that make you just like it just embraces that sucky feeling. And but why do that? And then he said, I've faced it. I have faced it, a life wasted, and I'm never going back again. Oh, I've escaped it, a life wasted, and I'm never going back again. Having tasted a life wasted, I'm never going back. And I liked that because I kind of feel like that, like where I was wasting my life and wasting time and just feeling like negative and feeling the comfort that negativity was bringing me. And now I'm saying, like, I'm not wasting any more time in those negative feelings because I don't like who it was making me as a person. And so now I'm making, and it doesn't make every day perfect. It doesn't mean that I don't still face my depression or that I don't have those feelings come to me. It's just, I'm going to acknowledge them and I'm going to move forward through them. And sometimes like the heaviness kind of sticks around too long when I'm trying to fight it on and just fight it off and just kind of go on with my day. But it still has so far has been way better for me than just embracing it. And I think that you can't ignore the things that maybe bring your depression on. You have to, see those things and acknowledge them. Like some experiences that you've had are extremely painful experiences, and you can't just, throw it off. Like I think that a lot of times people want other people to get past the pains that they've been through or the traumas that they've been through because they don't like how it makes them feel to see you going through something. But, there are some injuries that you get in life that you may carry for your whole life, but how are you going to carry them? Like, if, I don't know if you've ever had to carry something heavy that was like when it's lopsided and you're doing it on one shoulder, it's extremely difficult, and like dragging it would be like take the process so long. And if you take the bucket and you put it on your head, like, I remember as a teenager, because I thought it was so cool that like people did stuff like that, put it on their head. So of course, if it's too heavy, don't do it. I tried that once before. It was way too heavy to put on my head. But you put it up and you kind of get some balance with it, and then it's easier to carry. And I think that is how we can face like our depression or the bad things or the things that we have to face from the past that have happened to us. Like just get some balance with it and say like this is a reason to feel negative. This is a reason to feel bad, but not to just, stay in it. And I don't know if that's different for everybody, how to get out of it, but I don't want to waste any more of my life feeling like giving the negativity or giving the depressive feelings more space than they deserve. So I liked it.
On top of studying the Jewish wars, we're also studying Ayn Rand.
Yep.
And one of her philosophies is that suffering is not necessary.
Yeah.
And it's really interesting because as you're talking, I'm looking at Alan, and Alan is a dualist. He says, our biggest rift is your view of ultimate good. I can't get past duality. You can't experience good without bad ever, at least while you're here. That doesn't make sense to me. There are people who've lived affluent lives who've never experienced true hunger or starvation a day in their life. That doesn't mean they can't enjoy an ice cream sundae. Like, I don't think it's true that we need suffering to balance out pleasure and vice versa. Like, there have been whole swaths.
Yeah, I don't think so either, actually.
Swaths of human history and whole places on the planet that have never experienced, like, real war. Mm-hmm. Like, if you lived in the segment of time as a Roman person doing the Pax Romana, you experienced peace and relative prosperity, and you didn't experience suffering. So... well, you didn't experience suffering in the form of war and all the rest of it. There are certain kinds of sufferings that the Western world has essentially eliminated, especially the modern Western world. So I'm not convinced. There are people that believe that you have to have, some sort of suffering and balance and all the rest of it. And Ayn Rand's like, why? Why do we need to balance those things? And I think she's right there. I don't, And the other thing is, some of this is also like, I've been around the world. Mm-hmm. So what Americans call suffering and what the rest of the world calls suffering are not the same thing. Mm-hmm. And so part of me is like, no, it's not suffering. The rich guy that's gotta wait for his butler to deliver his filet mignon for lunch or whatever. Like that 5-minute interval is not suffering. Mm-hmm. Like, so I'm not certain that you need suffering to balance out pleasure or happiness. I do think that suffering is necessary to build certain character traits, because there's certain character traits that you would not have were it not for suffering. Mm-hmm. Because of our sinful nature. So, for example, empathy. Most people are not, no matter how empathetic people think they are, they're really not. So, I say this all the time. It's like, you can read a story, we drone bombed 30 people and murdered them in their sleep last night. Mm-hmm. And an American can look at that and go, that's horrible. And just go on with their day like nothing happened. Mm-hmm. And life has just ended for, I don't know, probably 3,000 people connected to those 30 people.
Exactly.
The whole world has ended for those people.
Yeah. Oh,
and
God.
We just go on and have a sausage. You see what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. So, like, what happens is that if you experience suffering commensurate to that, or you see it, like if you're over there and you see the ramifications of what a drone bomb looks like after, and you hear a kid repeating a phrase and you say, well, what was that kid saying? And the person says, the kid is saying, where's my father? Sad. Then when you read about it again, you're overcome by it. But you have to be in the middle of that kind of suffering to generate the at least something relatively close to the proper empathy. Mm-hmm. Most people who call themselves, I've talked to people on this channel that call themselves empathetic people. But when it comes to certain segments of society, they have no empathy whatsoever. Mm-hmm. Yeah. So I think suffering is necessary to build specific kinds of character traits, but I do not think it's necessary to experience pleasure or good aspects of life. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah. Yeah.
I thought that this song was a real, like, a self-critique in a way. You know what I mean? Oh, yeah. Like, absolutely. I think that he's talking about himself. Like, why are you, obviously.
I absolutely think he's talking about himself.
If you've ever struggled with, any form of depression or anything like that, I'll have to distill my position, Vin. Yeah, AT. I mean, you got my number, so text me. Yeah, there's the whole mind over matter kind of aspect to depression and just mental illness as a whole. Yeah. Right? Like, how much of it is in your control?
And that's the big question.
It's the same thing with physical pain, actually. Like, growing up in sports and football, like, I got hurt every single week. Mm-hmm. I got the entire, my best friend, who was the other linebacker, he, I remember one time he couldn't get his shoe off of his foot because it was, I'm pretty sure he probably broke his ankle. It was the last game. It was a championship. We had an undefeated season. He couldn't, and he was like, yeah, and he was running around like full speed. Yeah. And people were like, how could Antonio Brown do those jumping jacks? Like, I've seen it. The kid. Mm-hmm. And that was a kid. Had to have had a broken ankle because we couldn't get his shoe off of his leg. So it's like, it's the same thing with physical pain to a degree. Like, obviously you have a compound fracture, whatever. And there's physiological things where your body will put in, certain natural endorphins so that you don't feel things in combination with adrenaline. But as far as, like, managing physical pain, there is an aspect of mentation where your focus or lack thereof on the pain is going to do X, Y, or Z. Like, and even, like, when you're working out, like, I told you I did a 5.5 minute plank. It's 5 minutes and 28 seconds. I was so pissed off. That's what the clock said. I'm pretty sure I did over that.
I'm sure you did, babe.
But I didn't know where I was. If I would have known that I was at 3 minutes and I had 2 minutes left, I doubt that I would have been able to do it. Like, there's a specific ritual I go through when I'm doing the planks that I do, and a lot of it is just tricking myself into stuff. So, because I got that Knight Rider beat.
Yeah.
Right? So you put it on for 1 minute and 36 seconds, and then the Knight Rider beat is 30 seconds. And then within that 30 seconds, there's it's going to go high. The beat's going to drop here. It's going to get high here. They're going to add a guitar riff here. And all of those are like mental markers that I use to say, oh, you can do another one. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So I want to be very careful. Well, I mean, you guys know I deal with mental illness all the time. Just like there are physical aspects to pain tolerance, like there are mental aspects to physical pain tolerance. I do think, to your point, that there's also a mental aspect to mental illness, in the sense of a lot of us probably need medications to a degree, to balance out, the various chemicals that dictate our mood. But there also is that, not necessarily mental side of you, but your soul, because I'm a Christian, I'm a supernaturalist. I don't believe that the whole world is physical. I think that's ridiculous. But that part of you that is your will, where you say, yep, this is a problem in the machine, but I'm gonna, to your point, I'm not gonna dwell on it. I'm not gonna dwell on darkness. I'm gonna open the curtains. I'm gonna, take a walk outside, whatever it is. I do think that, or I'm gonna exercise. I'm gonna do whatever. Like, those things are proven to have a positive effect on your mental well-being. Yeah. But you have to kind of rev up that engine to get there when you don't want to get out of bed, or you don't want to do the plank, or you don't want to do, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Well, so, what I've been doing is saying, like, once you get yourself, okay, like, for instance, when you're driving in your car, you can kind of get on autopilot and you're like, holy shit, I'm at Walmart and I don't even really remember driving over here, because your mind just, like, you're used to the route and, you put your blinker on, you do everything and you do it. It's just so natural to you because you've been driving for years. But then if you stop and you focus on each turn, okay, I'm turning this way, then you can actually, you'll notice, the mindfulness involved in it. And what I did is I started doing that. And again, I'm just at the beginning. I'm only a couple months into this, but I started by saying, okay, like, when I'm feeling horrible, I'm going to backpedal and find out when was the moment that changed. And so as I did that, then once I started nailing down what was making it change, then it was like, okay, well, those are the situations that really, really negatively affect me. And so now I'm at the point where when the situation happens and I feel that negativity, then I'm like, okay, now I have to make the choice. And I ask myself, what is the healthiest thing that I can do in this situation? And it's very easy to know what I've always done before. But I'm trying to make the best decision. And maybe the best decision is to do X, Y, and Z thing that I'm not strong enough to do yet. But if I can just make a decision that is better than what I've been making in the past, then I'm making a better choice for myself, and I'm healing in the process. And I feel like a healthier person than I was 2 months ago. And so for me, that seems like it's really working. But it is, I don't know what it is, but there is something that is, like, satisfying about just letting yourself fall into that negative feeling and just, like, slumping into it. I'm not sure what it is, why, like, poo-pooing that bad feeling feels so good. But when you start pulling yourself out of it, it's hard work, and it's mental work. And, like, at the end of the day, I'm so freaking tired because I'm like, I'm trying to keep my mind focused on where are my thoughts going, what are my feelings, and how am I reacting to these different things. But as I'm making these changes, like, I'm noticing, like, now I'll be sitting at, like, let's say I'm at that turn where it's like, okay, here's the bad feeling. And then I say to myself, normally I would just let myself think X, Y, and Z thing and just blow everything out of proportion in my mind, rather than saying, you know what, that's actually not what's happening here. And, instead I'm going to do this healthy thing. So it's now that I'm at that point, I'm like, oh my gosh, I was making really bad decisions like a lot during the day. And it was really making my days difficult. Like, it felt good to poo-poo myself in that, but it didn't feel good to live in that. So I'm glad that I'm, but honestly, you know what was a big game changer for me was the channel and talking to everybody, especially like on the streams and stuff, and seeing that, this is common to a lot of us, that we struggle with depression and with this dark, like, sort of heaviness that kind of comes over us. So it made me feel better that I was like amongst like people that understood what it was like, and nobody was trying to hide it. People are like, yeah, I'm all fucked up, and it like felt good to be around that, because I'm like, okay, well, all right then. Like, obviously we can't all stay fucked up for the rest of our time. Like, this channel's cool and it's cool what we're doing and we're all able to hang out and do music, but how can we get ourselves healthier so that way, our lives are better and the people around us can benefit better from our from the work that we're doing to heal, to bring ourselves to better healing, And I don't think I'm doing it all on my own. There's a lot of prayer that's going into it. Actually, that was like a major game changer for me, was the prayer. And now I'm just taking the time. It's not even that complex. It's not like, I'm just talking to God. I'm just like, okay, this is how I'm feeling right now. I'm going to make this better decision, blah, 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 and I'm just talking to him. So it's cool. It's been a good journey for me.
Why does the darkness come back always? It's lurking there somewhere in the background. When you feel it's gone, it creeps back to the surface. Yeah, I think, like I said, I think some people are, the Puritans used to call it a predisposition to melancholy. Mm-hmm. Jonathan Edwards talked about that a lot. I don't know why that is for everybody. Some people it might be environmental. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. Like, I don't remember feeling as morose when I lived in Florida. When I lived in Florida, I was outside most of the time. It was pretty much always bright and sunny. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Maine has all these cycles where you're kind of trapped and confined in your house.
Yeah.
And like an extreme version of that was COVID. Mm-hmm. COVID made a lot of people homebound, and it really fucked with people.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So sometimes, you have to account for, because depression is looked upon as a mental illness, a lot of times people, don't take in the physical situations and factors that can lead to depression. And people make this real hard, because we're in a materialist environment, people make these hard distinctions between mental illness and bodily pain and all these things, where in our worldview, all that shit is integrated.
Yep.
So if you had, like, for example, Spurgeon had this horrible gout, and it was sometimes so painful, it was debilitating, and
yep,
it would then bleed into making him extremely depressed. He had what people would call, major depression, or, he wasn't manic, but he at least had major depression. He had darkness over him.
Yep.
And so there was an interplay between his gout and his depression. Like, physical maladies can get you depressed. Mm-hmm. And
definitely,
depressed feelings can also have physical ramifications, which we saw, unfortunately, recently. Mm-hmm. So, like, we're body, soul, spirit units, and so when one aspect of our being is affected, it affects all of it.
Yep.
And so,
yep,
there's a physical aspect, there's the environmental aspect to it. Some of us have people in our lives that are just unhealthy, and
right? They refuse to deal with theirs,
right?
Yeah, and then it has an effect on other people. Yep.
Yeah, and so there's a lot of reason, why that is.
This might sound like a kind of a weird statement, but if you're looking at like the evolution of people and cultures and stuff, like, your people were not from Maine, the snow, right, all that, you know what I mean? Like, your people,
right,
for very far back, have spent the majority of their time in the sun in tropical places. So right, maybe it's like a fish out of water for you even to be in a climate like this. Yeah. Like, maybe that adds to it. Like, if like the evolutionary like idea of people evolving over time to be more acclimated to certain environments than within your history, your people.
It's possible, but
you just said Florida was better for you.
Yeah, but Florida would be better for a lot of people. Like, I think it'll be a lot better for you.
Oh, I know it'll be better for me. But I was born in the sun.
So I'm not sure. But holy shit, Peter, I'm very, very sorry.
Oh no. What happened?
Being assaulted by your own father at 6 years old, and he kills himself when you're 12. How do you deal with that? You could never get revenge. Well, I think Peter, in that situation, that the best revenge is to get to the point where you don't want revenge. Because, you know, there's a reason, you know, I don't know what you believe, but there's a reason the scripture says, vengeance is mine, I will repay.
Yep.
And there's lots of reasons why God tells us to release vengeance, but one of them is that vengeance is a burden that only a divine being can handle. Because I can tell you, as a person who has gotten vengeance on some very bad people, that it doesn't change the fact that the bad thing that they have done, it doesn't undo the bad thing that they have done. What vengeance does do, though, when humans enact it, is it has a sort of vampiric effect to where the minute you indulge in it, you become in some way like the being that you despise. And then you have to carry that for the rest of your life. And so I think it's I would look at, you know, what happened if that was your father that did that, if that story is your story. I would say that, you know, the way that he left the world would be God's vengeance on him. And that's the best of all possible worlds, because you don't have to carry the burden of vengeance. Anybody who's taken any real vengeance on another human being, especially vengeance that cannot be reversed, trust me, it's a horrible burden that you would trade the entire world and everything in it for if you could do it again and not go in that direction. So the real vengeance for a person who tried to destroy you is to be so healthy that you don't even want vengeance on that person anymore. Because that means that they haven't successfully zombified you or turned you into them. Because the worst part of especially sexual trauma is a lot of the times people who are sexually traumatized at a young age end up doing that to other people. Which again is because of the secrecy, the shame, and the bitterness, and you kind of get locked into this emotional and mental chamber, and your mind becomes consumed with it, and you then become the person that did that to you, and then you then act out that story onto other people. I'm not saying that you did that. I trust that you didn't. But my point is that the best way, because a lot of times those people are trying to turn other people into themselves so that they can justify themselves and say, see, I'm not the only one. So the best way to have that vengeance is to say, no, you are the only one. Because I'm not like you. And I'm not going to repeat what you did. And I'm so unlike you that I don't even want any vengeance on you. And I think that if you can get to that point, then that's the only way you can win. It's, you know, so, you know, like I said, I don't know what you believe, but the scripture, and you know, the scripture doesn't say don't be vengeful because it's not nice.
Right.
It actually says leave room for the wrath of God. So, as I say, the Bible is an eminently...
Johnny said something that was kind of similar. Revenge is just too exhausting. Book. And she said... Revenge is just too exhausting and damaging for me. I prefer to let karma handle it, which, you know.
Karma! It's called karma! Yeah, no, and, you know, call it karma, call it God, but, you know, there's a specific advice that's given to people who are being abused in a multitude of different ways, and Jesus was not a hippie. I tell this to my son all the time, because he's still skeptical, I think. Jesus is not a hippie idealist. Jesus is the person really familiar with human nature and understands how we're constructed and understands mentally how destructive a vengeful attitude will be. I mean, he tells a parable about a guy who's so vengeful, and then at the end of the story he says, He's thrown into the prison and given over to the torturers until he pays off the last penny.
Yep.
And the torturers are the various tortures that you inflict upon yourself when you're locked into the prison of always having to get vengeance.
Yeah.
And I love you, Jimby, but you're not the healthiest person right now. So, there's also that. So I think ultimately what it comes down to is you can have peace or you can have vengeance, but you cannot have both.
You really can't.
You can't have both.
You can't. But one thing that's cool is that, so I've also been on a journey with vengeance as well. Vengeance is not something that I've made a habit of doing in my life. I used to always just, boop, God will take care of that, and I just move on with my day. And I was a much happier person when it was like that. Then I kind of hit a point where I'm like, all these people need to pay. And I'm not sure they need to pay. And I think I spent a lot of time thinking about how they needed to pay and hoping that they were going to pay and wanting to see opportunities that they were actually, paying, even though they were. Life is pretty miserable for some of these people because they continue to make choices. But anyway, the last thing that happened, I shared it on the channel. I was in the car and I was...
Holy shit, this guy's 50 years old. Look at him.
What? No.
You're aging like a brother, JD. You're sure there's some
also, thanks for the super chat.
Somehow, thank you for the super chat as well. Go ahead.
So I told this story before. Like I had, one of the kids in the car with me and I was driving and there was somebody, out in the road on the ground and there was vehicles around, there was people around. I thought the person got hit. I'm not really sure if they got hit or what happened. But I was like, I didn't want the child that I had in the car with me to see, perhaps maybe they ran over his hand and when we got by there, it was going to be like all squashed and bloody and all that. And I didn't want the kid to see that. So I'm like, I tried to move into the other lane and the person wouldn't let me in. And I thought, okay, this person just doesn't know what's going on. But once they hear somebody's been hit, I don't want my kid to see it. They're going to let me in. And so I was telling them to unroll the window. I said, roll your window down. And they started calling me a bitch. And the person was like, yo, we're not crazy. You're crazy, you bitch. Because I think that they thought this meant crazy. But they were older than me, so I thought they would have understood the reference of, like, remember the crank windows? Like,
yeah.
And so I was saying, no, roll your window down. And they did roll their window down just to yell at me and tell me that they were going to their doctor's appointment. And I was furious. Like, that was probably the most intense feelings of road rage that I've ever had. And I wanted to ram my car into their vehicle or do something. Like, this person had to pay. And I didn't. Obviously I have a child in the car. I'm not going to do anything crazy. And I wasn't satisfied. When I took my turn and they took theirs, I was not satisfied. I was so angry. I wanted to find their vehicle. I wanted to do something. And it took a couple of weeks after that event for me to say, yeah, that was an overreaction on my part. Like, if they didn't want to let me in because they had a doctor's appointment, like, why was it such a big deal to me? And then, we talked about it and then I was able to see why it was such a big deal to me. And then I just, like, I feel okay about it. And I don't feel so angry inside after that, which is weird. And I don't understand why that happened. Like, I didn't feel better and it took weeks to feel better for not making that person pay. But I feel better now that I feel now that I have more control. And I don't like the feeling of not being able to control myself. And I felt very out of control in that situation. Like, I felt like just a tiny little nudge and I was going to ram my vehicle into theirs. And that was a pretty crazy feeling for me because I'm like, that's a real loss of self-control. And if you're a very controlled person, because I was always a very self-controlled person. And when you're a very self-controlled person and you see other people that just let loose in public and like they get all, it's comical. You're like, what is wrong with these people? Like they can't, like this old woman needs to get to her doctor's appointment so badly that she can't let a child like, get away from somebody that got hit by a car. Like, what happened to you, ma'am? You're like, is 60 years old and you're like, you know what I mean? Like, it's almost laughable that somebody, but whatever. I mean, I think that vengeance and taking vengeance yourself, it's so corrosive for us as just regular human beings that it's something we should avoid. It's like you wouldn't pick up hot coals with your bare hands because like our skin can't take that. And I think that us as human beings, the corrosive effect that vengeance has on our souls, because we're not eternal beings, it's just too much. So we shouldn't hold on to that. Just, let that stuff go and leave that to the eternal one, the creator of the universe. Let him level the playing field.
Wow. The revenge we wanted against the person responsible for the death of our son, overpowering to say the least. It still hits us even though she died too.
Wow. Oh, I'm so sorry to hear that about your son.
Yeah, that's the thing. I'm not making a moral judgment on a person wanting vengeance. Mm-hmm. Although there are moral aspects to that, such as where do you draw the line, and should the people that you've hurt be able to get vengeance on you, and when does the cycle stop? So there is a moral aspect to vengeance. What I'm talking about is simply the emotional toll that it takes on a person is too much to bear. Only a divine being can bear that kind of emotional toll. Is the aspect that I'm talking about. I've never seen a vengeful person happy. Never.
No, it's true. It's completely true.
So my thing is I want to be happy.
I want to be happy, and I don't want to hurt the people that I love. Because when you're a vengeful person, and everybody's sinful, and everybody's going to do shit that's going to piss you off. So if you train yourself to be a vengeful person, you will inevitably take vengeance on people that you love and care about. And then after, you're like, wow, why did I do that? So...
Yeah, my brother, you may get him in hell. You may. And that's the trade-off. Like I said, you can have vengeance or you can have peace, but you can't have both. And I think that it seems to me that you're in hell right now. A lot of people talk about hell in the future, but it seems that you're in hell now. And what I'm saying is, you mentioned you couldn't have a girlfriend because of it. And I'd say, I think that's probably true. But now, you've got a choice to make as to... Because your father's been dead since you've been 12, I guess. But he still has ramifications on your life to this moment.
Yep.
And to me, the purest form of revenge would be to fucking go out there and heal. And I'm sure you're an awesome, compassionate person because of what you went through. Even though you probably have a pretty dark side to you and you got a lot of anger that you need to work out. But I think what we'd all want for you is to go out there and get yourself straight, get your head right, and find a young lady who can appreciate you and your music. And she's probably got some issues of her own, and you guys can work toward being together and doing something really cool together. So that's one option you have. The other option you have is that you can stay in prison for the rest of your conscious life and then, meet your father in hell. But I hope better things for you, my man. But that's never happened to me at the hands of my own father. So, you know what I'm saying? All I could tell you is that I've done irreversible things, man, and it doesn't, it doesn't change what happened to people. That's all I can tell you. So, but much love to the homie, and thank you for sharing that. Thank you guys. Some of you guys have shared some really, really. Shout out to Marie Austin. Holy shit, you don't really know us, but you shared a really horrible, painful situation. Took us years to figure out vengeance versus peace. Shout out to her and her family. And
if you're open to sharing more of the journey, you can email us, vinandstory@gmail.com.
There are 10 million reasons that things happen. And, Marie, you're in a sense, your son, you even sharing this is a part of him not dying in vain, because I guarantee you it's going to affect somebody, and somebody's going to make a very important life decision based on what you just said. So shout out to her. Shout out to her. My sister, who passed a few months ago, was vengeful because her son lost his life 8 years ago. She couldn't let it go. Vengeance got the best of her. R.I.P. Shelley.
Jeez. That's going to be such an uphill climb.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, God.
All right. Men are like that. They look young forever. I'm turning 50. My hair decided to become instantly silver. I'm becoming a big witch.
Big witch.
And she still has a humor. She still has a humor.
Important. Very important.
Yeah. Yeah. All right.
Coming
Holy
up
shit.
next, you guys, another song.
Rate the song.
Oh,
Rate the song.
it was it's a 10 for me because the topic is wildly important. Like, first of all, I like Pearl Jam anyway. You know, Eddie's voice is it's one of those like not perfect voices. So so shout out to the big homie.
Shout out to the big homie for sure.
Yeah, so it's a 10 for me.
It's a 10 for me.
Really?
It's no.
You just said it's a 10 for me.
No, I was just doing the Simon Cowell voice. It's a 9.3 for me. I'm being a lot more stringent in my judgment of songs. But I don't think I've ever heard a bad Pearl Jam song. Mm-mm. I've never heard a bad Pearl Jam song. Shout out to Pearl Jam. There you are, dear listener. A lot of heavy stuff. I understand. You know, but this is a channel, man. You can have a nonsense song with really good vocals and good music, and then Sorry gives it a 3.5. And then you can have a song like this, and it opens up some serious wounds. And look, man, anybody that shares any of this stuff, it's an honor, in my opinion, that people would do this in our community.
Yeah.
Then out.
Sorry out.
Gone. All right, guys. What's the next song?
Cult of Luna, Finland. You gotta do the commercial.
Cult of Luna, Finland on the way, guys. We shall return. I'm Vin.
I'm sorry.
If you would like to get your song reviewed, dear listener, there's the Filthy Capitalist option. As Sorry says, 125 gets you straight to the head of the line. You don't have to be a part of the alliance. You don't have to be part of the group.
Wait a minute.
And the biggest thing is you don't have to wait. You hop, skip, and jump right in front of everybody. 125 gets you there. You do that 3 times, and you get mashed down to the $75 rate for perpetuity.
Yes!
Also, there is a band review option. So if you've got a band and you're trying to get your band some exposure, hit me up at itsorry@gmail.com, and I'll show you the details about how to pull that off.
You can also jump on Patreon, and there is a option on the tiers to be able to get your band reviewed. Yep. Obviously, we can't lie to you, so we can't guarantee a positive review. Get what you get.
It's just rubbish.
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 That's British for garbage.
My favorite is the community option. $1 at the gate gets you in a Patreon. You get to join an alliance. The alliance joins their points together, and that helps determine what songs that we do.
The alliances hang out on Discord.
Message me on Patreon to get the link.
And they do all kinds of other cool things. They do Minecraft, Dungeons and Dragons.
Yeah. It's really a community within the community. Anybody can go in the village, facebook.com/VinandSorry. There's 160,000+ people on the channel. What's cool about the Discord is that it offers a real opportunity for community connection, friendship, that type of thing. But,
And it's on Discord, so if you're not a Facebook person, it's for you.
You start off at $1.
Right.
Plus you get exclusives. Sorry and I are working on a song. So the first 15 seconds of that was on Patreon. Also, at $15 tier and above, when we actually debut the video, they're going to be there live with us. There you are, dear listener.
Bar merch.
Bar merch indeed. Chow shall lead them.
Okay, this is the craziest stream that we've had thus far.
Is Codeslammer even here?
He was. But he got his booster vaccination today, so he might not be feeling super awesome. Anyway, so Cult of Luna is okay. So anyway, we had Codeslammer bought 10 songs and wanted it donated to the village for Christmas. That's Vin's fault. No, I'm just kidding. So here we are. We're doing the stream now. So we went through the comment section, and the songs that got the most likes were the ones that got picked. So up next, there we go. Codeslammer's right there.
He says, he's like the ocean. And then he says, it is I. There he goes. I am here.
It is I.
We've got a friend that says things like that in real parlance. My rap!
My rap. So the next song that's up is Cult of Luna-Finland. Melkor is the one that asked for this one, and he got his buddies or his villagers to like that comment, and so that's why it's here on the list.
Yes. JD's like, you're back. Yes. We do a song, a review, we hang out, and then we rate it, and then we do a commercial, and then we come back. Everybody loves the commercial. It's everybody's favorite part of the channel.
They, for some reason, keep telling us they must play it in hell, but I think that's a compliment because it's a metal channel.
Yeah, it's a metal channel. They play a song in hell. Can you imagine Vin and Sorry playing D&D? You know, I kind of play D&D. I try to get into D&D. I had a friend that was into D&D and all this, and I tried, but I just think that I didn't have the attention span for it, inshallah. Okay, guys. Cult of Luna. The name of this particular song is Finland.
Yeah, Finland.
This was the third. See, I love the commercial because Soraya made the commercial. She's like, hey, I want to show you something, yada, yada, yada. And I was so impressed with the commercial. I love it. I think it's the greatest thing in the world. It's the best YouTube commercial I've ever seen in my entire life. Okay. And shout out to Mama Marie Austin. Holy smokes, man. You're a freaking inspiration, young lady. Okay. The commercial is 50 seconds too long.
What do you give it, a 3.5?
All right, Cult of Luna, Finland, let's go. Epic. Epic.
Wow.
Okay. So this is called post metal.
Yeah, I guess.
So initially I was like, man, this is gonna be a big slog of doom metal. You know, doom metal. Like,
yeah.
And the cadence was very slow. I was like, oh no. But then it transitioned to the
oh my gosh.
Well, we were just talking about dualism, like the last thing.
Yep.
And although I'm not a dualist, I love dualism in my
music.
art.
Yeah, in art. Yeah, okay. Me too.
I love the opposites and all that stuff. And then of course AT in his regular parlance. That's just invaded my soul. That's just him talking normally. This is my guy. He texts me every once in a while. He's a deep brother. But very rarely does he text me. But when he does, I appreciate it. So yeah. Initially, I was like, oh god. I think Doom is probably like old school Doom.
Yeah.
It's probably my least favorite genre.
Oh, okay. All right.
But I like songs with Doom elements in them, if that makes any sense.
Yeah.
So it kind of started off doomy and kind of like
you just don't want the whole thing doomy.
You're carrying and then it just got super melodic, and I love melody and I love the guitar. I'm working on a song right. You guys saw the clip Black Number 3. I'll release the whole thing on Patreon. I think it's pretty much finished. Soraya just has to drop her vocal parts, and then there's another kind of idea that I have that's coming as well. But I just love melodic guitars and contrasted with you know the heavy stuff.
Yeah, I'd agree with that.
So they just did a really good job where they just, and the song structure was pretty unique. It was a pretty unique song structure.
It really was.
We've listened to, like I said, 2,700 songs. And, verse, chorus, verse, chorus, verse, middle, and blah, blah, blah. Some little variation here and there. But this one was really, I don't know. I like it when folks deviate from standard song structures.
Yep.
Because it to me, it's like, oh, okay, this is cool. Mm-hmm. This is different. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? And it also, I don't know if I'm right. I mean, there's a balance somewhere, because if it's just a bunch of segments of a song strewn together, it's kind of
chaos.
Well, not even chaos. It's kind of, I'm just like, oh yeah, you just put a bunch of chords together and the sections of the song together. Mm-hmm. It doesn't really flow. It's one of the things I'm struggling with the song that I'm working on. We'll talk about it later. But like, so I don't like that. But there was still a structure to the song. It was amoeba-like, but if you listen to the song, there's still a structure to the song. Mm-hmm. But they were giving a lot of room for the musicianship to play, and that's one of the things that I really, really love about bands like this. One of the reasons it's called post-metal is because it deviates from typical song structures. Okay. All right. There we go. That's perfect. I always think that Neil is holding up a Bible when I know he's not.
You know what? So do I. Every time I see that picture.
Right? I always think it's a Bible, but it could be.
As a matter of fact, when you just said it.
You've been working on
That's when I realized it wasn't.
You've been working on the same song for like a year. No. That song is finished. Mm-hmm. That song is finished.
We just have to get it recorded.
We just have to get, well, actually, our parts about it are finished.
No, I still have to do that last piece for the vocals.
Yeah, and P hasn't added the drums to the interlude part. Mm-hmm. So maybe I should probably send him a message. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, it's funny because so the song started and I was like, yo, and I turned it down. And then I was like, the next piece of it started. I was like, I've misjudged it, and I turned it up. And I was really, really feeling. And his vocal style, it had that desperate sort of sound to it, like it was really coming from somewhere deep. And that to me is like the sound of the vocal style. I'm really looking for the feel of the vocal style. So even though, like, if he would have had that same sort of sort of sound and it would have been like somebody else doing it, I probably wouldn't, I don't know if I would have liked it. But because I could feel something desperate coming, like it was coming from somewhere deep, that's what makes me really, really like it. And I liked the transitions and stuff in it. And also the lyrics, to me, I didn't understand them, but I liked them. These things moved me when I turned my back. Now I return with open hands. I found light that led me to the shrine where children sang and pilgrims mourned. I was lost, but not alone. From a distance they come alive, sleepwalking across the plains. No answers were found here, seeking shelter in her embrace. Down on sore knees, erase and begin. Under my eyelids, come forth light. Literally have no clue what this guy is saying. You maybe have some take on it, but it didn't matter. I liked it and I felt it. So that to me is.
Well, it looks like he's talking about, because the name of the song is Finland, right? Mm-hmm. So it looks like he's talking about either turning his back on his motherland. These things move me when I turn my back, or the religion of the motherland, or the practices, or the ways. So, these things moved me when I turned my back. So he turned his back, but it still moved him. That was still with him. Mm-hmm. Now I return with open hands. I found light that led me to the shrine where children sang and pilgrims mourned. So, I was lost, but not alone. From a distance they come alive, sleepwalking across the plains. No answers were found here, seeking shelter in her embrace. Down on sore knees, erase and begin. Under eyelids can't come forth light, which I'm assuming are tears of reconciliation to his either deity or the old ways of his folks, or whatever. Prague Pro 96 says this song is also part of a concept album, Somewhere Along the Highway, which might provide more context. So, Somewhere Along the Highway is the name of this record. Cult of Luna is Swedish.
Oh.
So, it just looks like there's a sort of... I felt like this with Christianity in high school. I always say I had a failed attempt at apostasy. I was walking around telling people I was an atheist. I never say I was an atheist. I always say I told people I was an atheist. Mm-hmm. So I feel like it'd be dishonest to say I was an atheist.
There's a difference.
I never was an atheist. Mm-hmm. Like, there are people who are like legit atheists. I was not one of them. I was just saying that to upset my mother and, kind of Ben Webb, my older brother. He was like, "Oh, word, there's no God, huh? Okay." I told you about that drill, right? He said, "You're in the hospital." He said, "Okay." We were all sitting there eating pizza one day. He's like, "All right, here you go, guys. You're at the hospital, and what are you wearing?" And then, you answer. It's like, "Okay, and what are you listening to?" Answer. Then he says, "Okay, who comes to visit you?" Whatever. And so I said I was wearing a red shirt or something like that. And obviously I was listening to Got the Light from Korn. And then who visited me? I said, Jesus. And then so he went around and he says, okay, so the red shirt has to do with like, I forgot what it was. It was something about like nature or something like that. And then, who you listen to, like what song you listen to is where your life is in that moment. And the person that you want to visit you is a person that you're separated from, but you want a relationship with. So it was weird because my girlfriend at the time said that her mom came to visit her, and she had just recently moved, so she was physically away from her. So I said, I was like, ah! Because
yeah,
I was like,
oh no!
I was like, oh no, oh no.
They now know your lies.
Yeah, so he was like, he was laughing. I was like, it's just some bullshit. And my mom was, Vincent, stop swearing around the table. Yeah. So here's Kai. I got a phone call when I was in Finland. That phone call changed a lot in my life. The song is about that story. I'm sorry I can't tell you more. It's just too personal to reveal.
Wow.
So
Oh,
JD says, shout out to JD, by the way. Gang. Like I said, first time live for me, y'all and your fans like the heavy stuff. Heavy in the eye is in the eye of the beholder. The Beatles, A Day in the Life is deep. Love to hear y'all react and to hear y'all's comments. I'm pretty sure that's coming very, very, very soon. Daniel says, I was an atheist, now I'm more agnostic, but I still lean toward godlessness. Well, that's a step in the right direction. Mm-hmm. Ya Rasulallah. I looked it up, and the theme of the album is male loneliness.
Oh.
That is important. Male loneliness. That's a very important topic that almost never gets talked about. It was a life-changing moment. Yeah, the lyrics are about that. And also, the first riff that you hear was written during our stay in Finland. And then it went under the name the Finland Rift, hence the term Finland. So, yeah, he's going to be very vague about it because it was a life-changing phone call that he received. And that's all he's going to say. Mm-hmm. I'm just agno confused. Hare Krishna. Okay, so yeah, to me, you know, the homeboy's not going to give us any more context, and I respect the hell out of that. To me, that was about my story of like coming back to, coming back to myself, really. Mm-hmm. You know, where Jesus says that the prodigal came back to his senses. And I said, what the hell am I doing here? You know what I'm saying? Like, there's riches. There's riches in Christ, Paul said. But yeah, like there's a lot of people who have experiences with that. You know what I'm saying? Mm. And you know, returning with open hands and all the rest of it. It's what's going on with you?
I've been thinking a lot about the story of the prodigal son, and I can't get over the fact that Jesus told that story, and when he talked about the son returning home, obviously it was like an allegory. It was a story that was meant to tell another story, and so it's about a father that has two sons, and one of the sons doesn't want to stay in his father's house anymore. He's like, just give me the money that I'm gonna have for my future, and I'm leaving. And so the dad says he doesn't fight him on it. He gives him the money. And back in that time period, they didn't have money. What they had was land and animals. So for the father to make that decision at that point, that was going to cut his stock in half, and it was going to cut his land in half, which was actually going to really negatively affect the father within his lifetime. So he cuts it in half, he sells it off, and he gives the kid the money, and the kid goes off, and he's just, you know, a typical young person that doesn't realize the value of all that his father had. And so he wastes the money on, you know, just living recklessly. And he runs out of all the money. And then he's like, yo, now what am I going to do? Now he has to live. So he goes and he works for this farmer, and like the Jews and how they felt about pigs, like that was like completely unclean. And he knows he's feeding the pigs, and he starts taking the pigs' food, which, if you know anything about pigs and what people feed pigs, it's absolutely disgusting. And so he's eating that, and as he's eating it, he thinks, well, this is crazy. Even my father's hired hands live better than this. So he said, I'm better off just to go back to my father's house. It's such an emotional story to me. He said, I'm better off to go back to my father's house and just work as a servant for my father. And so he comes, and it says that the father saw him in the distance, and you got to know that they've got land. And so for the father to see him in the distance, the father must have been looking a lot to see him when he was coming back. And so the father sees him, and like, if you were a rich person, or, you know, you had any sort of clout about you, you're not going to run. You know, they wore long garments at that time. So for a man to run, he had to lift his garment and run. And so it was completely undignified. And he sees his son far off, and he does that. He pulls it up, and he runs to his son, and he brings him back, and then he celebrates with him, and he throws a feast for him, and he doesn't treat his son like, you know, it doesn't even say, he said, you know, you made some really poor decisions. You know what I mean? Like, he just, the son already knows that he made bad decisions. And so he just brings him home, and you can just see like the celebration, like the father throws a party and like slaughters their fattened calf, which, you know, he more money goes out the window for this kid, you know? And just the idea, like, so when I think about that, and this song did make me think about it, like, even though I didn't understand what the lyrics were saying, it still had a meaning to me. And so when he said, I found light that led me to the shrine where people sang and pilgrims mourned, like, to me it was, the person coming back to what they had left behind. And so I thought about the prodigal son and how, like, I think, like the previous review we were talking about it, and we were talking about like negative decisions and making poor decisions and like embracing vengeance or not keeping your mind where it needs to be and just like slipping into depression and stuff like that. But I feel like I'm on this journey where I'm going back home, and it's like a really, really, really cool journey just to think like, because I guess I always thought that going back home or going back to the roots of like my religion would be like, I don't know, like I've always had like this view of God, like he was kind of like, not Jesus. I always felt like Jesus was a very like, like he was the softer side. Well, my parents had this funny role. Like my dad was the one that put the rules and my mom was the one that kind of like smoothed stuff over. So like Jesus was like my mom and like my dad would be like God the Father, and he's always like with the rules, So I felt like that, but it wasn't like that at all. Like when I made the decision where I was like, what, forget this. I'm going back home. And like, it's just been like I feel like that. Like I feel like the God of my religion ran to me. And so this song was like, and the way that he was singing it, like that, like sort of desperation with it, like I kind of hit that point where I was like, I can't keep doing this on my own. Like I feel like I'm shipwrecking everything. Like I feel like I can't keep, I can't do this. And so I went back, and then when it says down on sore knees, to me that was like, maybe the person was like the prodigal son. He was like work in the pigsty, like he probably like he's probably down on his hands and knees doing different stuff, but then he comes home. Like to me the sore knees could also be like like kneeling back in the presence of not your father, but in the presence of your God. Erase and begin, under my eyelids come forth light. So that was like a cool part too, because it was like everything that's done before doesn't, the shame or the guilt or the failures of yesterday don't have to move into today if you're actually saying, like I want to begin and I want to move forward. So yeah, like when yesterday's failures come to me, I say, well, you know what, like I'm not a perfect person and we all know that. And so just moving into that, and then under my eyelids come forth light. To me, like under my eyelids, that's like in your eyes. So it's like from within the person, light was coming forth and going out, which is totally crazy because that's like, I don't know, like first there was a light that led him to the shrine, but then from within him comes that light. So yeah. Seems like the guy really found.
That was very beautiful. I just want to point out Amy Lee's racism.
Oh no!
Only on this channel. Swedish band, white people. Croatian flag, white people. American crying, white people. And then I get left out. The Jamaican gets left out.
Oh no!
Racism. That was beautiful, babe. Yeah, like that. Yeah. So I don't know what happened with that guy, and the album is about male loneliness, which is a serious problem.
Yeah, it's gotta be.
It's a serious problem.
Because I think a lot of guys can't like talk about it.
Yeah, I mean, I think in a forum like this, I think dudes are allowed to be whatever. Mm-hmm. But I think forums like this are few and far between. Mm-hmm. And it's a weird thing that we have to find each other in a virtual space. You know what I'm saying? Like sometimes I'll do an insomnia stream where and it's a lot of dudes. You know what I'm saying?
Yep.
So. So true, you blended with the pack.
Yo!
And I was wearing a black shirt. Shout out to Amy Lee, gang. See?
Oh.
That's how you know, like they trust that they're friends.
That they got the card.
Yeah. Well, Amy and I have had some walls, and we still love each other. So it's all good.
Thank you for the super chat.
Thank you for the super chat. I have lied to him, bitch. Nice try. But shout out to the Croatian flag, gang. Yeah, really good song, and like all good art, like number one, it hits you in the chest, but number two, it really, you can interpret it so many different ways. Mm-hmm. For sure. Mm-hmm. Nearly 3 o'clock in the morning, just fought with my aunt about the death of her sister, my mom, who killed herself 21 years ago. I need some relief.
Whoa.
And that's why we're here, Andy.
Yep.
Look, anytime you guys share that crazy, hard shit that you go through in your life, it's a big honor to us. Mm-hmm. And it's a bet that you're gonna run into people that are gonna do their best to understand you and love you for the time that we all have together. So I respect the hell out of you for that. Why'd you do that?
Mark's melting down. The last song, you must go into your correct seats. All right,
so get this off.
Probably, I may be rating it higher because of how emotionally I felt about it. It's a 9.8.
I can countenance giving this a solid 9. Solid 9. For sure.
Yeah. Well, shout out to Melkor, who got this one on the list.
Melkor, really? Okay. Shout out to Melkor, gang. I love the flag in the back. Used to have dreads 1.4 meters long. Now I shave my head. Josh saves. Yeah, you can still have dreads and be a Christian, All right, guys.
Up next is Rosetta.
We got another jam for you guys. Check us out. Vin out.
Sorry out.
Gone. Un mas.
Thanks for the super chat, Carlo.
By the way, yeah, shout out to Carlo. The Codeslammer is going to be stretched over 2 days, guys. So we're coming right back tomorrow with more Codeslammer. Where are you going?
You can do the commercial. I'm just going to check on the food to make sure it's not burning.
Oh, there's food?
Yes.
Oh, there's food. I thought I was going to starve this night, dear listener. I've kicked it with my boys since we were 6, but I still somehow feel uncomfortable. I typically go to my friends who are girls. They are less weird about it because they're less repressed emotionally. Well, yeah, Daniel, you're like Dorian, in that you're light years ahead of your contemporaries, especially your male contemporaries, so it's one of those situations where it's gonna be like that a little bit, but you're gonna find your little tribe. It's gonna be fun, but yeah, I think about you a lot, and I'm like, damn, I wish Delaney, Dorian, and Daniel. Look at that, the 3 Ds. Look at that. I wish Delaney, Dorian, and Daniel could find each other in the physical world, because you guys would be thick as thieves. So, anyway, who knows? Inshallah. Okay. Isn't it odd that in society emotional strength and power is considered a weakness? Yeah, and I'm not sure that all societies are like that. Western society is to a degree, and we talk a lot about the fiction of masculinity. We were talking about that a couple days ago, and this strange notion that there's only one way to be a masculine person or whatever. Somebody said we were watching what was it? The Coheed.
Thanks for the super chat again.
Later, keep it real. The Coheed and Cambria review.
Yeah.
And somebody was like, Finn has more feminine energy than Sori.
I know, I saw that.
And he's probably right. Like Jordan Peterson said that he's constituted with a lot of feminine, whatever.
I think
he said that in the thing with what's his face.
I think it's hard to know how much people have, like, who they are really, because your circumstances change you. And so, you know, like, probably, like, for instance, 6 years ago, the feminine energy that I put up versus now, like, when you go through things, it changes you, and you put less out for for stuff. So
whereas me, like, you know, it's just so much shit happened. I don't even care at this point.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? Okay. We're coming right back, guys. You guys know the drill. Hey, my guy Vlad is here.
It's so loud.
Well, every time I see Vlad,
I know. You get excited.
I do. And that guy's face, you know, like, look at his face.
Oh, that was the character in my dream.
Really?
Yeah. Who is that? What is that character?
It's Vlad, the Impaler.
Ooh.
Vladimir.
Well, he was a bad guy. The guy was bad in my dream.
Well, you're showing... See, I keep telling you guys that you guys are... we talk about you. We take you guys with us everywhere you go. I don't know what else we can do to prove it to you. She's dreaming about Vlad's icon in the thingamajiggy. That is mainly an Anglo-Northern European thing, I believe, where you're supposed to be reserved with your emotions. Good point. I've only seen my father quite twice in 40 years. Both time were at his parents' funerals.
Jeez.
Yikes. Y'all gonna take a break? I'm new here. No. We're doing the commercial. I'm calling it the commercial break, and then we're coming right back. And then tomorrow we're gonna do 6 songs.
The last 6, leading us up to the top one. They got the most likes.
Oh, really? Is that how it goes?
Yep.
Oh, sure. I wasn't told this information. Let's go. I'm Ben.
I'm sorry.
If you would like to get your song reviewed, dear listener, there's the Filthy Capitalist option. As Sorry says, $125 gets you straight to the head of the line. You don't have to be a part of the alliance. You don't have to be part of the group.
Wait a minute.
And the biggest thing is you don't have to wait. You hop, skip, and jump right in front of everybody. $125 gets you there. You do that 3 times, and then get mashed down to the $75 rate for perpetuity.
Yes!
Also, there is a band review option. So if you've got a band and you're trying to get your band some exposure, hit me up at itsorry@gmail.com, and I'll show you the details about how to pull that off.
You can also jump on Patreon, and there is a option on the tiers to be able to get your band reviewed. Obviously, we can't lie to you, so we can't guarantee a positive review. Get what you get.
It's just rubbish.
Rubbish. That's British for garbage.
My favorite is the community option. $1 at the gate gets you in a Patreon. You get to join an alliance. The alliance joins their points together, and that helps determine what songs that we do.
The alliances hang out on Discord.
Message me on Patreon to get the link.
They do all kinds of other cool things. They do Minecraft, Dungeons and Dragons.
Yeah. It's really a community within the community. Anybody can go in the village, facebook.com/Ben-Sorry. There's 160,000+ people on the channel. What's cool about the Discord is that it offers a real opportunity for community connection, friendship, that type of thing.
And it's on Discord, so if you're not a Facebook person, it's for you.
You start off at $1.
Right.
Plus you get exclusives. Sorry and I are working on a song. So the first 15 seconds of that was on Patreon. Also, at $15 tier and above, when we actually debut the video, they're going to be there live with us. There you are, dear listener.
Buy our merch.
Buy our merch indeed.
And a child shall lead them.
A child shall lead them.
All right, you guys. Song number 4 on our top 10.
Shout out to Sadie. I'm doing that cry will be in my nightmares 30 years from now.
Yeah, he does something even worse now, actually. If I make another updated video, I'll get the new, you know, that screaming thing he does when it's time for bed?
Yeah.
Anyway, all right, you guys. So we are in the middle of a DJ stream, as you know. Where do they
go to like it?
So I put out the video. It was like free reviews, free reactions, and it was just it was a video that I put up on the channel. And then from there, you were supposed to put in the comment section, you know, what songs you wanted, or put likes on the ones that were already there. So that's where it was. It was in a video that we posted on our channel. So be in the know in case this happens again. So we have a DJ stream going on right now that is put together by Codeslammer, who bought all the songs
Shout out
because
to
he wanted to give a Merry
Codeslammer.
Christmas to the village.
Shout out to Codeslammer. He's legendary.
So that's why we're here. So the fourth song of our top 10, we are counting down to the number one requested song. The next one on our list is Rosetta-ryu Tradition. So let's check this out.
Anytime.
This was Prague Pro 96 is the one that requested this. He was
Shout out to
there
Prague
like an
Pro.
hour ago, so hopefully he pops back in to see his song.
Anytime I see Ryu, I just think about Street Fighter because that was my guy.
Oh yeah, I could see that.
That was my guy. All right, guys. Prague. I was gonna say Prague Pro. Rosetta-ryu Tradition. Let's go. Oh, I like that. I like that picture.
Yeah, me too.
Letting it spill.
Wow.
In the silence, I'll atone. Mm-hmm. I love that song, bro. I think this is post metal. Is his name?
I think that's what I heard people say.
I think black metal. I think is my favorite genre, especially like tremolo picking black metal. Like what's my band?
Magua.
Mm-hmm. Tremolo picking black metal is my favorite genre. But, holy smokes, man! I love the melodic guitars with the yell, but the lyrics were freaking deep, man. Holy smokes! The lyrics were really, really deep, and obviously, look it's steeped in religious imagery.
I know, yeah.
I mean,
yeah. Break it down for us, Vinny.
Nothing can be done. What do you mean breaking it?
I want you to go over it.
Well, he's talking about atonement, right? Mm-hmm. And atonement is Amy says, there is no atonement for his singing. Astaghfirullah. Amy just likes clean vocals. I mean, she's an Evanescence fan, for God's sake. It's always got to be clean vocals. But, like, atonement is what happens when you, specifically in a religious context where you've sinned against God. And it's basically, you take the words atonement, it's at one meant, so that you and God can be one again. Right? So, you know, that's one of the major questions of theology almost across the spectrum. Like, I was looking at some of the back and forth between a couple of the comments, and I think it's Perk and Vlad were talking about the Aztecs and how many people they sacrificed, and you know what I'm saying? Like, and so there was the idea that you have to appease the gods are angry, although I'm not specifically certain as to why the Aztecs believed that they needed to sacrifice people. I'm not particularly sure why the Aztecs did, but it's a staple of theology across the board that there's a sense that we've done something to anger God or anger the gods, and what can we do to make things right with those gods? And some of it was just being bound to nature. So, for example, if you're in an agrarian society, you're so dependent on powers outside of your control, like the seasons and making sure you have the rains and the harvest and all the rest of it, that if the rains were delayed or whatever, then it was interpreted, oh, we did something to anger the gods, so let's do this X or Y Z sacrifice so that we could get the rains again, which obviously is a way of human beings trying to gain back control.
Oh, absolutely.
Over elements that they don't have any control of.
Yeah.
Or so the concept of atonement is really an interesting thing. In Christianity, there isn't really much about atonement in the sense of, trying to get rains back or whatever. Although there is, for example, in Deuteronomy, in extreme cases of Israel's rebellion, where God says, "I'll make the skies above you brass," meaning I'm not going to send the rain or whatever. But the main...
Oh, I thought that meant he wasn't going to hear them. Not that he wasn't going to hear them, because he would hear them always. But
it was a real practical ramification of you're not going to get any rain, and if you don't get any rain or whatever, it's the same thing with Elijah's but that only happened one or two times in Israel's recorded history, where Elijah had the famine, there was no rain or whatever, which so that really wasn't the emphasis in Israelite religion. a lot of the emphasis, particularly when you get to the Psalms, is about atonement, is about your actual relationship with the deity himself. Not that he would withhold something from you, but that he would withhold himself from you was the problem. So David, for example, in Psalm 51, he basically sexually assaults this girl, kills her husband, and then he gets called on it, and he talks about, restore to me the joy of my salvation. God shows up to Abraham and says, I'm your very great reward. So in Israelite religion, if you really truly understood it, God himself was the goal of the religion. It wasn't you go to God so you get rain. It wasn't you go to God to get this. God himself was a religion. So if you, and so much so that the Israelites are portrayed as being married to God. So the point of atonement ultimately in Israelite religion, and you had, there were peace offerings and free will offerings and thank offerings and drink offerings. There were all these relational markers with God because you wanted to have that relationship like Moses. Moses spoke to God face to face as a man speaks to his friend. Enoch walked with God and he was no more because God took him. So there are all these examples of people who have this face-to-face close friendship with God. Abraham is called a friend of God. Even the Quran, actually, Abraham is called a friend of God. I think Khalilullah, I think his name. So that's what you're gunning for. But then you do things that cause a fracture in that relationship to God, and so a lot of it is trying to get back to that oneness that you had with God. And it's just like Eve is taken out of Adam's body. God's people are pictured as being taken out of him, and then Adam and Eve are brought back to God. So it's a very, very fascinating concept, and that bleeds obviously into the New Testament, bleeds quite literally, where you have sacrificed probably hundreds of thousands, maybe million animals in the Israelite cult, and then you get to Jesus, and it's this weird situation because on the one hand there are these very specific rituals as to how the sacrifices are supposed to be done, and then kind of halfway into Israelite history you hear this sacrifices and offerings you didn't desire, and then God in Jeremiah is like, I didn't tell you guys to do these offerings. It's like, what the hell?
Oh, wait a minute.
And in the specific one called an Asham, the Asham is the sacrifice of atonement, and then in Isaiah 53 there's this individual, and he is called an Asham. He is called a sacrifice of an atonement. And it's kind of confusing because you're not supposed to have blood, human sacrifices in the Old Testament. You offer your kids up to the fire for Molech, you're a bad guy. So the whole point is that, human beings cannot atone for their own sins, is the idea. And human beings cannot meld the fracture between them and God to reinstitute that oneness in the relationship. So it's just very interesting where he says, indulge securely this apology. Where silence is salient, where silence is still, indulge this offering. Forgive my silence. Embrace the atonement. Embrace the silence. Embrace the outpour. Vacate the angst. Atone and sing. Confess and rest your sweetly wings. Sometimes I think that these stars are calling me back, calling me home. Please accept this small offering. The dim light of God's. Come now and rest. Come rest well. Sometimes I think these stars are fireflies of home calling me. This is really interesting because I initially read it as fireflies calling me home, but what he was saying is the fireflies were home calling him. And in the silence, I'll atone, collapse, embrace. But the cool thing is that the big marker, the big climax of all the atonement is that God himself comes down, becomes one of us, lives perfectly, never fractures a relationship, and then he himself atones for our sins. And so we don't do the atoning. We just sing about the fact that he's atoned for us. Right? So, Job 33 tells the story of the guy who he's living wrong and all this, but then it says if there's an angel, there's a mediator, one of 1,000 to tell him what's right for him, and he's merciful to him. And then this angel turns to God and says, wipe away all of his sins, I found a ransom. Mm-hmm. Let his flesh be renewed, and
the days of his youth.
Let him be born again to the days of his youth. Mm-hmm. And then it says about the bad guy, when this happens to him, he sings before men and says, I've sinned and perverted what was right, and it was not repaid to me. So it's really interesting, the concept of singing and atonement, how that works together is that we don't do any of the atoning. Mm-hmm. We just sing before men and says, I sinned and perverted what was right, it was not repaid to me. He has redeemed my soul from going down into the pit, and my life shall look upon the light. Behold, God does all these things twice, 3 times with a man and a woman, to bring him back from the pit, that he may be lighted with the light of life. Mm-hmm. So an angel has to come and says, I have found a ransom. And then it says, it's an unbelievable story, because it's totally God doing it, and when you're a father, all the shit makes sense. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Like, your kids are completely dependent on you, and if it's gonna work, you have to make it work as a father. Your kids, your kids are not ultimately responsible for your relationship, even if they fuck it up.
Right.
You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So like, that's a crazy thing to me. It's like experiencing, and it's one of those things, man. Like, it's hard to. Then the person prays to God and he accepts him. He sees his face with a shout of joy. And there's like some question in the translation, like, who is seeing his face and who's shouting for joy? Yeah. Because is it the bad guy who's now repentant and he sees God's face and he shouts for joy, or is it God who is celebrating and seeing the guy's face with a shout of joy? And of course, Jesus answers that question because he says there's more joy in heaven over one sinner who repents, right, than 99 persons who are righteous who don't need to repent.
I also believe it's a double.
Right? I think they're both seeing each other and they're both shouting for joy. Because God loves to forgive. So God sees the guy's face and he goes, hey, you're home. And the guy goes, you want me? And God's like, yeah, of course I want you. and the guy's like, great. And God's like, give me a hug. And the guy's like, no, I'm going to sing before men and tell them how horrible I was and how you forgave me. You know what I'm saying? And like, so the concept of singing the atonement and all the rest of it, is just so unbelievable to me.
Well, yeah, we were listening to that guy last night or this morning, and he was saying how it's important not just to read the Psalms, but to sing the Psalms, because it hits a different part of your person. And so when he said atone and sing, I was like, that's cool.
Well, that's the thing. It's like it's Islam.
This song makes me want to write.
Islam has outlawed music, and subhanallah, that's if that's not a clue that that's not the right religion. I love Muhammad,
but they have done a lot of creative things with their voices.
They have. I love the nasheeds, but good lord. So that's why I just loved. I loved what this guy was saying. Like, embrace the atonement, embrace the silence, embrace the outpour, vacate the angst. Whoa, Kai. Yeah, we might end up seeing a Morphous Live. That would be legit. And then it says, "Come now and rest. Come rest well." And when like I say, we have a very, very convenient religion, because the scripture says, by one offering he is perfected for all time those who are being made holy. Yep. So I'm perfect in Christ. So that's one of the reasons I have no problem saying I have original sin, I've sinned, I've done this bad, I've done that bad, I have no, it's singing before men and saying, I've sinned and perverted what was right, but it was not repaid to me, because it was repaid to Christ. So I'm completely secure in the fact that I know I fucked up royally and horribly, and I know I'm going to fuck up royally and horribly, but I'm completely secure because God sees me as perfect through what Jesus has done. And in that you can rest. People go, well, then if your eternal destiny is secured, then why do good things? And Paul said, oh, that's simple. The love of Christ compels us.
Exactly.
We're convinced that one died for all, therefore all died.
Mm-hmm.
So I died with Jesus. So I don't live to myself, because what's running the engine is love to Christ. So it's just crazy, because now you can rest. You don't have to keep working your way to God. Like, you're good. And and when I see God, he's not going to be angry at me. He's going to shout, and he's going to lift up his skirts, as you said, and run to me. So if you truly believe that about your relationship with God, it kind of frees you up to be what you were meant to be. And so, like, there's no mystery. Like, I know that he's accepted it. You know what I'm saying? Like, I know that he's accepted me. And Sadie says, evidently the Christian God picks and chooses whose prayers he answers. Well, that depends. Because when you're a father, there are many times your kids ask for things, and you know it's not going to be the best thing for them.
I don't think it's whose prayers, it's what prayers. And there's a difference.
Yeah, I agree. And if a lot of things only get understood once you become a parent.
Yeah, really.
There's so many things where you become a parent and you go, oh, there's a lot of like theological issues where like I'm like with the kids and I go, oh, okay, I got okay. Erase that one from the record.
So that's why.
Yeah. Erase that one from the record. I got you. The Lord thy God is in your midst. Oh, yeah, this is one of my favorite ones in Zephaniah. A mighty one who will save. He will rejoice over you with gladness. He will quiet you by his love. He will exult over you with loud singing. So, like, I'm just like a real...
I just quoted that one in the car the other day. Remember?
Yeah.
There was some horrible thing that some religion or God was doing, and I was like, well, your God's doing that. Ours is singing over us. Yeah. And the other thing is that if you understand atonement, where Paul says, if God gave us Christ, who was the most valuable person to him in the universe, how will he not also, along with him, graciously give us all things? Who will separate us from the love of Christ? So trouble or hardship or nakedness or famine or nakedness or danger or sword? No, in all these things we're more than conquerors through him who loved us. So if God doesn't answer my prayer, it's because answering that prayer would have been the worst thing for me to have it answered the way that I want it. And obviously... That's a painful answer.
That's a painful answer. But as you grow in maturity, you actually end up seeing...
Yep.
Holy shit, if I would have got that, then this one happened, and that one happened, and this one happened. Because the fact of the matter is, as a child, I don't know what's best for me. I think I know what's best for me, but I don't know what's the best for me.
Yeah.
Just like my kids, Orion thinks he knows what he should eat in the morning, but he has no idea.
Yeah, they have, like, videos of, like, outrageous reactions from kids and the things that they wanted. So, like, this kid's melting down because his mother won't let him hang out in the refrigerator. Like, things that kids want to do that you're like, that's absolutely great. But they're a kid, and so they feel like, wow, how could you do this to me?
Yeah. So I love it. I love it.
So what do you give it?
This song is 8.9. I thoroughly enjoyed it. I'm going to give it a 9.2. Give it a 9.2.
I was at a 9.1.
There's Vlad. Yanking verses out of context, a kid to turning them into daily motivations. No. I think Romans chapter 8, Zephaniah, and Job 33, that corpus of verses are all saying the same thing, and I don't think they're out of context at all. It's about God being willing to be emotional and show his emotions about the people that he loves and the children that he loves, Vlad. And inshallah, you experience it one day. But be as cynical as you like, my brother. It's all good.
In the
meantime, in between time.
So you guys, thanks for the stream. Codeslammer, obviously, thank you to you. That
Amy
was ridiculous.
Lee gave it a 3.5. That's the vengeance that we were talking about at the beginning of the other.
Right.
The beginning of the other.
Let it go, Amy. Let it go.
Yeah. Let it go.
Yep. I didn't know you loved the Beatles so much that you would let your heart fill with bitterness and vengeance and give this one a 3.5.
I feel like we're gonna hear one of those songs and be like, oh, okay, this is why these guys are so legendary.
Yeah, probably.
I've been curious about that ever since I was in the studio with that dude, and he was. I mean, I felt like he went overboard. You wouldn't have rap music one for the Beatles. I was like, bruh. Anyway, guys, we got 6 songs coming up tomorrow.
Be on the lookout because the time is yet to be determined.
The time is yet to be determined.
All right.
Hopefully this video doesn't get blocked, so all of you that wanted to see the Beatles and Pearl Jam, inshallah, won't get blocked. But
who knows?
Also check us out on Twitter and Twitch, because Twitter, the videos are there. They never get. Did you restream this one?
Yeah.
Okay. So JD, we did the Beatles, and the Beatles are most definitely probably going to get blocked on the YouTube side. But on Twitch, if you follow us, Vintage Story on Twitch, all these videos are here, like in full, like start to finish.
Well, wait a minute. You're not seeing anything from Twitch on there?
Huh?
I'm only seeing YouTube logos there. So did it not?
Well, is this well, did you do Restream on this? Did you set it up on Restream?
I set up Restream and I put the title into Restream.
Yeah, we're on Restream. We're good.
Okay.
Oh, yeah.
All right.
So that means it's on Twitter. It's on Twitter, Twitch, Facebook, and YouTube.
And Amy Lee Forever said also Facebook has full videos.
Facebook also has full videos, although sometimes they do get copyrighted and blocked and taken down as well. But the copyright people will somehow miss out on Twitter.
Now.
Twitter for now. So we're small enough. Twitch on Twitter.
Amy says Twitch has the audio muted.
Yeah, we're small enough on Twitter to where, we're right under the radar. So check us out on Twitter, and you'll see the whole thing there.
All right, you guys, thanks for coming out. We'll see you tomorrow.
We will see you tomorrow. We have more songs. Shout out to Sadie. Shout out to Amy Lee. Shout out to JD. And shout out to the big homie,
Codeslammer.
A Day in the Life from the Beatles. I'm pretty certain we're going to end up doing that song as well pretty soon, inshallah. All right, guys. Much love to all of you beautiful people. We have to get out of here. Having said that, dear listener, Vin